Hello, and happy Thursday to you all, community. Welcome to today's community event on YouTube. As always, we're thrilled having you all here with us today. I hope you and yours are doing fantastic, and I hope your week is going great so far. For those in the northern part of the Americas, happy Thanksgiving to all of you, as it's Thursday. I'm sure you're celebrating that on your side. And for the rest of us all over the world, welcome to today's community event. Glad that you were able to make it. As you see, the topic gave it away already. Today's topic is Ethereum, the modern internet. Community, it's very important for us to really understand this so that we don't miss out on this. And I just feel like it's important for us to really differentiate the technology that came before blockchain itself, which was the internet, and how that actually fares to the blockchain technology. What are the differences? What makes it really stand out? What's the difference between the internet and the blockchain? And what can we benefit from either? So this is going to be the topic today on a general overview. However, of course, we're also going to zoom in and look at our ecosystem specifically. In that way, we're going to also understand much better of the added value that we bring to the network, to the ecosystem, to the industry. So with that said, as always, I see all your comments, your feedbacks already. We'll get to all of them at the end, as usual. Meanwhile, as we are about to start, let's ensure that since all the tweets are out, as always, our daily rituals, Survivor, Killer Whale, and Bullrun, they're all out. So those who have not engaged with the tweets yet, I encourage us to do so, as we know why. It's to reach to as many individuals as possible. And we as crypto enthusiasts, we want to attract as many people as possible to our industry, to the crypto industry, have them learn about this industry, be familiar with it, because there's no way around it. This is the future. Digitalization is the future. Just like the internet revolutionized the world to this day, same thing is going to happen with the blockchain technology. Is happening already, as we will see in this session today. It's revolutionizing the future of not just finance, but so many other industries that are yet to be discussed, right? So with that said, community, once more, welcome everyone that is able to make it to today. Those that are new in the community, welcome. Happy to have you here with us today. And those that are veterans consistently showing up, we are happy having you here with us today as well. All your comments will be read and answered and attended to at the end of today's session. There's so much to be discussed today, community. So let's get right to today's topic. If you can bear with me, let me share my screen. All right. As always, let's just briefly start with today's markets. I'm sure we're all already familiar with it. We've been seeing we're a bit down, roughly 1% down in the last 24 hours. We had 3.3 trillion market cap. As we see, nonetheless, we are still at a very high extreme greed. Fear and greed index is still at extreme greed. That usually correlates with the green market. However, as we understand, we are in a very, very volatile market. And also what I want to highlight here is that, as you see, the Bitcoin dominance has been decreasing. Conversely, we've been seeing Ethereum dominance increasing. So it hits 13%. That's we haven't hit the 13% Ethereum dominance in a very, very long time. And also we see that Bitcoin at its peak actually had hit 60%, and now it's down to 57. That's something very, very important to note and to just highlight, because that's exactly usually what happens once we see that shift from Bitcoin bull run, and then it shifts over to Ethereum and then to other altcoins. So with that said, let's get right to today's topic. As we said, there's quite a bit to discuss. Ethereum, the modern internet. Why is that so important to understand? It's very important to understand that. So just to quickly highlight all of this, uh, what is Ethereum really? Like, it's an internet of value. The internet as we knew it back in the early 90s, as we will see, we'll briefly go through the history of the internet just very fast. But before we get to that, I'd like us to just look at these things right now. So the difference between the internet itself and Ethereum today, which is also known as the internet of value, is that literally you can own its ownership. And there is literally value on top of it. We'll understand this in more detail as we progress throughout this session today. So the internet is ruled by innovation stifling by monopolies, actually, right? It's ruled by monopolies that have stopped us having an internet of value, right? So far, it's just ruled by a handful of organizations. So organizations built on top of the current internet network, they have a monopoly right now, right? And also with their code is proprietary. So you see that these institutions, they have patents and their codes are proprietary and they're closed to the public, right? And but when the network itself is designed to transfer value, it enables different business models to emerge. Because as we know, blockchain technology, unlike the current internet, it's not proprietary and it's also not closed to the public. It's actually the opposite. It's open source. It's open to the public, right? So in this frontier, users retain control of their funds and their personal information, right? That's the major difference between the current internet and the blockchain technology. They roam freely without bowing to any king or queen. Value, that is money, assets, securities, property, is as native to the internet as applications are, right? And this is already happening as we speak. So this is not about crypto. Let's make that clear. This is not about crypto, and this is not about the next Bitcoin or getting in the next hot token that will pump. What is it about? It's about a shift in the very foundation of the web as we know it today. So there is a money layer that's being added on top, and it's a distributed network that transfers value without relying on banks, settlement, and clearing agents. These are things we always discuss. And unfortunately, these are the same things that we've forgotten along the way. We've been blinded with price going up, but we forget the principles, right? The fundamentals of what the blockchain technology was supposed to do in the first place. So money moves, of course, faster, cheaper, and globally, just like the rest of the internet, right? So, and this network isn't only good at transferring value, but it can also process anything a computer can, allowing developers to build applications on top of it. The difference from the internet applications we're used to is that in these applications, value isn't an afterthought, right? It's actually at the very core. That's exactly what makes Ethereum so unique, so special. The name, I'm sure you're curious, the name of this new base layer for value is none other than Ethereum. It's the largest smart contract blockchain, the first smart contract blockchain in the industry, the largest by now, right? So what can be done there? What can be done over there? Payments can be made seamlessly, and that's just the start. So more complex financial services are now at the fingertips of anyone with access to the network, right? And users can trade tokens at a few taps because value can be programmed. This can range from the network's native token ETH to synthetic representations anything and everything from gold to Tesla stocks, and also, of course, the buzzwords and what Larry Fink's favorite is tokenization, tokenizing everything, right? So this is just in a nutshell, community, to just summarize our current, what right now Ethereum is all about. It's a network, the internet of value, ownership, right? And you can build multiple applications on top of it. And value, it's not an afterthought. It's actually at its core. Always remember that. Now, let's take a step back. We always have to look at history. Always have to look at history. Because if we don't understand history, there's nothing we can take away from all of this, right? So I'm sure most of us already know, but actually the origin of internet, it's actually, or it was, and still is obviously, the military, it was a military project, right? And this military project connected and transformed the world. And I'm not going to go through all of this. I can link this so you can take your time and go through it. I just want to get to the meat and potatoes, to the most important part. What we need to understand here is that by this time, like in 1990, that was when the internet boom, the internet really started to be acknowledged, right? So by this time, there was already existing knowledge of the internet, right? So there was knowledge. It wasn't really, not many people were already using it. So, but they knew of it, right? So it wasn't actually until 1994, right, when the World Wide Web was founded, and headquarters was at the MIT, the university, and also in order to standardize web development. So Yahoo emerged as the first search engine, right? So Yahoo was the first one, and then Amazon came to bring virtual stores. So Yahoo came with the search engines, and Amazon was the first e-commerce, basically. And then later on a computer level, in 1995, Microsoft presented Windows 95, and the World Wide Web was established, right? It's established itself as an excellent internet platform, right? And it was being more effective thanks to the search engines, the e-commerce stores, and it was better than any other protocols before it, right? Like the FTP, which stands for the protocols such as FTP in the US, was officially ended, right? And the phone companies began to offer internet services. Can you imagine? 1995, so almost 30 years ago, is now when the phone companies started to provide internet service, which began to have a massive reach, right? And then eBay was created, one of the first auction and e-commerce stores. And later on in 1998, Google came now, right? Google emerged as a search engine, right? And it came, I'm not sure if we are familiar with Alta Vista, but sure, Yahoo. These were the top two search engines prior to Google, but then Google came and dominated and proceeded to revolutionize the internet commerce as we know it today. So the industry, by presenting its online advertising system, AdWords, right, in the year 2000. So Google came, did better, was more efficient, had a more sustainable business model, took over Alvista and Yahoo's search engine, prioritized it, and started generating revenues with it, with AdWords, as we know it today. All of these so-called internet companies, the Googles, the Yahoos, the Amazons, right? They then eventually kickstarted in 2000, and then the internet boom began in this decade. That's how really the boom really started. And it started reaching a mass audience through phone companies, right? It started a true revolution that's changed the way we communicate. Keep in mind, internet is a communication. It's a network. It's a technology to communicate. Let's keep that in mind. So after decades of people sitting in front of the TV, the arrival of YouTube in 2005 changed how this decade children and young people consumed both programs and advertising, right? And then also social networks came, such as MySpace. And then in 2003, Facebook, 1 year later, Twitter in 2006, and Instagram in 2010, right? So in short, in a nutshell, this is how the transformation was complete. This is how the military project that began in the laboratories of MIT had managed to connect the entire world and started this digital age that changed daily lives of most people around the world, right? So in a nutshell, this is the old internet. This is where it began. This is where it started. And back here, it was closed, like we said, dominated by these dominant large internet companies, like we talked about, right? So why are these so important? Why are we highlighting this? Because first step, we want to identify how was internet, how did it originate? What are the life cycle? What is the difference between the internet itself back then and the internet now, right now, today? And like we saw, Ethereum is the modern internet, where it's not just a technology, but it's an asset also of value. And you can build on top of it. You can own it freely, right? And that's the biggest difference. Now, let's look at these top 10 internet companies. It's very important now to identify these top 10 internet companies that we've seen, and Amazon and Google were the first ones we read about already, right? So these are companies, for example, Amazon, it launched in 1995. And it launched in 1995 as an online bookstore. And of course, as we know, it has since become the largest US internet-based retailer, with all sorts of products. What we want to pay attention here is this right here. Revenue. Pay attention to the revenue. These are the top 10 internet companies. This means that these companies decided to use, from day one, this technology to its fullest. They really wanted to make the best out of this technology from the very early stages. They realized and they had a vision that in the future, even though during 1995, the internet wasn't widespread yet, but that's the whole idea. To be a revolutionary, that means you're seeing things before they become mainstream, right? That's what sets you apart. That's the competitive advantage that you have. See things or develop things before it's mainstream, before people even realize that they need them. Identify challenges and address them. So let's pay attention to this. So if we look at these top 10 internet companies, I just want us to focus on the revenues that they're making. So the largest one, Amazon, is reportedly in fiscal year of 2023, they reported a 574, let's round it up, 575 billion in revenue, right? And the market cap is closing in on 2 trillion, actually, based on May 2024. So this is $500 billion, more than $500 billion in revenue. If we look at Google, similar, right? Similar. Google came in 98, and we see that they have a revenue of over 300 billion. JD, it's a Chinese e-commerce company as well, internet company as well. It has over its revenue 152 billion. This is a lot. They're based on business to customers. It's an online platform in China, right? Meta, formerly known as Facebook, it's also the world's most popular social network, also an internet company making the most out of the internet technology, right? And it's also acquired WhatsApp that most of us are using. And also its revenue is at 135 billion in 2023. It also has a market cap way above $1 trillion. We can go on and on. Alibaba, we see the same thing. It's also a Chinese e-commerce giant. It has a market cap of 215, but most importantly, revenue of 126 billion. Tencent, same thing, right? Internet company. It's an Asian company. It's known for WeChat. It's dominating over there. It also has a revenue of 85 billion, Salesforce, same thing, revenue of 34 billion. Netflix, we're all very, very familiar with it. Also in online streaming, video streaming service, right? Revenue 53 billion. And then booking.com, same thing. It's a internet company as well, 21 billion in revenue. Baidu is also out from China. It's the world's largest online search engine, but it's geared towards China and the Chinese population. And also what's important here is its revenue, right? 19 billion. Why am I always highlighting revenue of these top 10 internet companies, you might ask? The reason why I'm highlighting this is simple. It's because if you compare these internet assets, let's look at the top assets in the world right now, based on market cap. Do you see similarities, right? If you look at the world's top internet companies, Amazon, Alphabet, JD, Meta, all of them, they're the largest. If you look at the top 10, they're the largest assets in the world. Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, right? Bitcoin is the new generation right now. And then you see commodities such as Saudi Aramco, it's oil, and then Meta here. So if you focus on the top 10, you realize that besides commodities such as gold and Saudi Aramco, they're into oil, the rest of them are all internet companies, right? Like we saw here. Meaning these are companies that took advantage of this new technology that was introduced in the early stages, right? And didn't blow up until mid 90s, like we saw here in the history as we go through the history. And Google just came out in 1998, Microsoft 1995, and so is Yahoo and all of them as well. And then the boom wasn't until after the year 2000. That's when the internet boom began. By that time, just 2 years prior, we see that Google and Yahoo and Amazon, they already had established themselves. So they were right at the forefront of all of this, right before the boom. Why am I highlighting all of this? It's because there's something I really want to highlight. If you talk about assets, if you talk about DeFi, we always focus on banks and financial companies. So let's look at this list. This list is a list of the largest financial service companies now. We looked at the top internet companies. Let's look at the largest financial companies now. And let's focus also on their revenue. There's a point we're trying to make here. So now we're comparing the internet companies that are solely driven by the technology. And now we're looking at a market that is actually responsible for over 30% of global GDP, like we discussed in our last community event. So the largest one is called Transamerica Corporation. It's actually a conglomerate. It's neither an insurance or banking company. It's a conglomerate. What is a conglomerate? In its simplest form, it's a form of a business organization, of course, but what it is, it's in its definition here, it's more than one. It's in different businesses. So it's an organization that is involved in multiple different businesses. For example, the banking, pharmaceutical, insurance, but it's all bundled up in one company. So that's what a conglomerate means. So why am I highlighting that? Because it has 245 billion in revenue, as you see here. So these are multiple companies all under one umbrella. This is why it's a conglomerate, right? But it's at 245 billion in revenue. Now, if we go back, and this is the largest, right, financial service company by revenue, 245. So if we go back to the tech company, the top 10 internet companies, we realize that Amazon, its largest, has 574 billion. So more than double than the largest conglomerate in the banking industry, in the finance industry. Even the second largest, Alphabet, Google, still has more revenue than the largest conglomerate, right? So what are we saying here? If we go to the first bank, we realize that it's the Chinese bank, right? Industrial Chinese bank, and it has 182 billion in revenue. And if we go to the rest of them, we can go in the top 10. They're all banks or insurances, right? And JP Morgan here is at 129 billion in revenue. So what do we realize quickly here? We realize that it's the companies that are utilizing the technology, which is the internet. They generate way more volume, way more revenue than the financial industry is, right? The financial service companies are. So what does that tell us? If you take advantage of the technology that you're privileged to be part of, and you solve it by addressing challenges, and you make the most out of it like Amazon did and Google back in the early 90s when the internet was nothing, not even a thing yet. And the Metas and all of them, they're now the ones that are generating revenues actually rivaling or actually way surpassing those of the largest financial service companies, as we know. The likes of Bank of China, JP Morgan, Allianz from Germany, and so on and so forth, right? So this just shows or solidifies that the technology at its core is generating way more revenue for these established companies than companies in the financial banking industry as we know them. Even though global assets under management is right here in the financial sector. But if it comes to revenue, even though these banks are the ones with the largest assets under management, in terms of revenue, it's the internet companies, the technology companies that are using this technology to its fullest. They're the ones generating the most revenue. That's the first takeaway from this. What's the second takeaway? This is another list. However, this list now is for the largest companies in the financial sector as well. So if you look at here, you see Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard, Bank of America. They're your regular banking financial companies, right? However, this time we want to focus on volume, this column right here. We focused on revenue earlier, and we saw that in terms of revenue, it's the internet companies, those that are using the technology, the internet technology, that are generating more revenue. Now, we want to verify the same for volume. In terms of volume, can we also say the same thing? So if we focus on volume here, and we look at Berkshire, for example, they're the number one. They have like a 4 million in volume. JP Morgan, 5 million. Visa, 4 million. MasterCard 2, and then we see Bank of America and Wells Fargo, they have the largest volume, 17 and 16 million. What I'm trying to show here is that you don't see anyone with above 20 million in volume, let alone a billion in volume, right? We can all agree. There is the largest one right here in volume is actually Wells Fargo and Bank of America, right? With 17 and 16 million. So let's go to our current technology. Keep in mind, the largest is in volume 17 and 16 million in volume. So if we come to cryptocurrencies, let's start with Bitcoin. Keep in mind, the largest here were in million. This is million in volume. They don't have billion in volume. So if we come to cryptocurrency, we're not talking millions here. These are now billions. So 1,000 times more. So cryptocurrencies trade at more than 1,000 times more than these well-established these well-established companies that have been around for 30, 40 years and above, they have way more volume than these established institutions. Let's go down the list. Bitcoin has 60 billion, Ethereum 38 billion, Tether has more than the top two combined. It's at 142 billion. Solana 4.5 billion, and so on and so forth, right? Binance 2.6. They all have over a billion at least, right? And you have to come to the 10 to even have still 764 million. So all of these, including meme coins, have way higher trading volume on a daily basis than the top largest financial service companies in the world already. These are not meme coins that we're looking at. These are traditional financial companies with 4 million, 5 million, 17 and 16 million. These are for Bank of America and Wells Fargo in volume. And cryptocurrencies are blowing them out of the water. Like even the top 100, we can say, even the top, all of them are above 71 million, 85 million. So way more volume. Like even Dog with Hat has more volume than Bank of America. So you realize, you get the point, right? So there's even meme coins that have more trading volume than these established companies that we're looking at. So now, not only does the technology, or rather the tech companies, not only are they having higher revenues than their counterparts in the financial sector, right? Like we saw here, compared to the internet companies. Not only are the internet companies generating more revenues, but they're also, the tech companies compared to the crypto, they have higher volume as well, right? So we're going somewhere with this. Stick with me. Now, there's one more thing that I want us to also look at. We all know that BlackRock is the largest asset manager in the world. However, let's compare Q3 profits, right? So this is Tether. Tether is barely 10 years old. It just launched in 2015, right? So it's roughly 10 years old. And in Q3, it had a profit. This is profit of 2.5 billion US dollars in Q3. Now, if we compare this, and on top of that, they have 14 billion in equity. These are in gold. These are assets that they have in gold, because they're purchasing gold as well. They're purchasing Bitcoin and all other assets that they have, equaling 14 billion on top of just the profit they made, right? 2.5 billion in Q3. Now, let's look at the largest asset manager in the world right now. What does their third quarter look like? 1.6 billion. So Tether, that is barely having 100 employees, that is barely 10 years old, that is a cryptocurrency company, had $1 billion more in revenue in Q3 than the largest asset manager in the world, with 11 trillion assets under management. This just summarizes or sums up the whole, since we started this session. It makes the point that not only toe-to-toe compared to revenue-wise, tech companies are the ones that are generating more revenue. If it comes to volume, it's the cryptocurrencies that generate the most volume, naturally, because they're the highest performing asset, of course. And then also, if you compare toe-to-toe, the largest asset manager in the world in terms of net income, Tether, which is 10 years old, generates more revenue, or generated more revenue in the third quarter than BlackRock, right? The largest asset manager. So these are things we need to understand. These are things we just have to lay as a groundwork. Keep these things in mind. This was just to set the stage, right? So now that we understand all of this, now that we see this, let's move forward. One thing I want us to understand here is this. So, like we discussed in multiple community events and even last one, like Larry Fink bets on Bitcoin ETFs, right, are just the beginning. He always says this. These Bitcoin ETFs that most of the crypto industry is so thrilled and excited about, especially Bitcoiners, these are just the beginning. As Wall Street, what are they eyeing? Their ultimate goal is the $10 trillion tokenization play. Why 10 trillion? Because that's the amount of assets under management that BlackRock has. Actually, as we speak, it's at roughly 11.5 trillion by now. So Larry Fink, his goal is to tokenize things. Don't take my word for it. Let's read here, right? Like we said, Larry Fink should be happy, right? So the CEO of BlackRock has seen the Wall Street giant's spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund cross 10 billion in inflows since its January launch. We hear news every single day on how much inflows this Bitcoin's IBIT are getting, right? Spot Bitcoin ETFs. However, Fink's ultimate goal, what's his ultimate goal? His ultimate goal are not Bitcoin spot ETFs. He could care less about them. His ultimate goal is the tokenization of every financial asset. That's his real goal. That's his ultimate goal. So all these ETFs are just a stepping stone, but his ultimate goal is the tokenization of every asset. Every asset. And no wonder, because tokenized real world assets, according to him, will be worth 10 trillion by 2030. And this 10 trillion is just based on BlackRock alone. So let's keep this in mind, right? Like we said, Bitcoin exchange traded funds, IBIT, 10 billion income in US dollars since launch. Great, amazing, beautiful. And they also have right here, it's been 100 billion right now assets under management, these ETFs. They've been doing amazing. Let's just be honest, it's been doing great. However, Fink's ultimate goal is tokenizing all and every financial asset, right? Everything. So what is real world assets? What does it mean? So Wall Street interest in tokenizing financial assets like stocks, bonds, and funds, mutual funds, ETFs, right? So bonds are debt instruments, the T-bills, right, from the government. And then stocks we're all familiar with, and then funds are the ETFs, right? So they can be traded and tracked where? On the blockchain, right? So again, this is because tokenized real world assets will be worth 10 trillion by 2030. So roughly 5 years, right? This is the ultimate goal. These are not my words. These are Larry Fink's words. Ultimate goal is tokenizing every financial asset, which is stocks, bonds, funds. Okay, now that we understand this, let's take this a little further. Let's start looking at, for example, UBS, right? Let's look at UBS. Why UBS? Because it says ahead of its time, right? And then there is a fact that the technology has been tainted in the eyes of regulators. We know that. But now the beautiful thing about all of this is because cryptocurrencies now are in favor, because the House, the Senate, the president, governments, institutions, other countries are pro-crypto right now. And this is a huge change. This is exactly the game changer that we're about to see. And others say blockchain is so far ahead of its time that banks are only just getting comfortable with it, right? And plenty of projects are proving the concept. So Swiss investment bank UBS, they launched a digital bond that settles on the digital exchange, right? We know about this. We discussed this already. But why are they focusing on bond? This is exactly what they're about, right? They're focusing on distributed ledger technology. This is what they're focusing on. And this is exactly what we were told as well. So now, this is exactly what we want to look at. So UBS launches first tokenized fund. Where did they launch it? On Ethereum, right? They decided to launch it on Ethereum, on the Ethereum blockchain. Keep in mind, today's topic is Ethereum, the modern internet. So they decided to launch this tokenized liquidity fund, just like Beetle did, BlackRock, nowhere else than on Ethereum. Let's keep that in mind. Don't take my word for it. Let's read the article says it. So UBS Asset Manager, a subsidiary in Zurich headquartered investment bank UBS, has launched its inaugural tokenized fund on Ethereum blockchain, right? Aiming to expand access for its clients. It chose Ethereum. So what else? We saw Beetle, right? Beetle is BlackRock. The Beetle Fund, which BlackRock debuted 2 months ago after iShares Bitcoin Trust. Its popular Bitcoin exchange traded fund gives investors an opportunity to earn US dollar yields. Through what? Through a blockchain-based vehicle. The idea of tokenized real-world assets such as gold is a key aspect of DeFi, decentralized finance, has gained popularity among financial institutions. Now, this is exactly what we need to understand. These financial institutions, they are cautious on crypto assets. They're not really sold on cryptocurrencies. And we know it by now why, right? But they are sold on the underlying blockchain technology. Does this sound familiar? Does this ring a bell? They are learning from their mistakes because they realize that the top companies that are at the top assets, they're all internet-based. And the banks, you don't see a single bank in the top 10. To see a bank, you have to go all the way down to 17, and then you start seeing JP Morgan and Visa. But in the top 10, even in the top 15, there is no bank. And they missed out on the internet technology. And this is why the world's top companies are all based using the internet technology. Now, follow me on this one. What's going to happen now is that they decided to not fall behind this time. So they want to use this underlying blockchain technology and be at the forefront. And this is exactly what they're saying, though. There's some irony in the fact that with iShares, which is the Bitcoin trust, we took a crypto native investment, which is Bitcoin exposure, and we put it in a traditional finance wrapper. What they're saying is that because Bitcoin in itself was unable to do anything, why didn't they do that? Bitcoin on its own, you can only buy and hold. You can't do much with it. So they had to literally take Bitcoin and then put it in a traditional financial wrapper. Basically, that's what they say. Well, Steve, that's a bold statement. Okay, let's verify it, right? So this is a CNBC article. For years, Bitcoin won by being boring, right? So investors weren't able to do all that much with it besides what? Buy and hold. That's it. You can just buy Bitcoin, hold it, or sell it. That's all you can do with it. But that was precisely why the world's largest cryptocurrency was valuable, right? It's known as store of value. Well, what else do you want to do with the store of value, right? You just buy it, hold it, you're done. So this just summarizes what they're saying here, right? So they took Bitcoin and put Bitcoin in a traditional finance wrapper. Now, but with tokenization, they're doing the complete opposite, community. They're taking traditional financial investment exposure and they're putting it on the crypto native wrapper. So basically they're saying they had to take Bitcoin and introduce it to the traditional market. However, if it comes to tokenization, they're literally taking the entire financial investment exposure and then they're bringing it onto the native blockchain. That's basically what they're saying. But again, this summarizes it exactly. So with Bitcoin, you were able to only buy and hold. That's it, as a store of value. But now, and this is why you had to bring it over to the traditional market, right? But now with tokenization, which is obviously on Ethereum, you have to bring the traditional financial market, taking traditional finance, and now you have to bring it to the native blockchain now. That's the biggest difference. So don't take my word for it. Like we said, we always have to verify everything we say, right? So, because this is very important for us to understand. Because Bitcoin, all you can do, investors weren't able to do all that much, right, with it, besides buy and hold. That's it, right? And this is why they say it here, they had to take Bitcoin and put it in a traditional finance. Bring it over, cross it over. So they're taking it from blockchain and bring it into the traditional world. This is very important to understand. But with tokenization, they're actually doing the opposite. They are taking the entire traditional market. Keep in mind, this is why Larry Fink is so eager and talking about how they want to tokenize things, and that's the end game, right? And that's the reason why. And this is also the reason why you see here, this also verifies it. They are taking their existing infrastructure, the existing products, and then they're bringing it on the Ethereum blockchain. They're doing the opposite. So instead of taking Ethereum, bringing Ethereum to the real world, they're doing the opposite. What they have in the real world, they're taking it from the real world, bringing it on the Ethereum blockchain, right? Why is that the case? Because this right here. This is, Ethereum is literally the internet of value. This is where everything, the financial industry is being built upon. Well, Steve, that's a bold statement. That's very bold, right? Give us some receipts. Okay, so the largest financial service companies, we just want to focus on the largest players because there's a saying that wherever liquidity goes, everybody else follows where liquidity goes. Follow the money, right? If the top players are involved in something, everybody else, the market leaders, follow them because they have all the liquidity, they have all the money, the influence, the clients, the infrastructures, they have everything. So whatever they choose, everybody else is going to follow them wherever they go. So let's look at the largest financial service companies. We're looking at JP Morgan, we're looking at Visa, we're looking at MasterCard. Keep in mind, these are the largest financial service companies. So in case you ask yourself, well, where is BlackRock? BlackRock is not a financial service company. BlackRock is an asset manager, right? They are asset managers, like you see here, top 100 asset managers. So this is why BlackRock, they're the number one, obviously. And by now they're at $11.5 trillion asset under management, right? If you look at number 2 and number 3 and you add up their assets under management, BlackRock is neck to neck with the second and third largest asset managers combined. So that's how large and dominating BlackRock is. And all these top 10 asset managers, besides one, the fifth one, is from the US. So this just shows you how much trillions of dollars and assets are under management. And this is exactly what Larry Fink said, that his end goal is to tokenize all these assets you see here. That's the end game. And if BlackRock does that, guess who else will do it? The competitors will do it as well. So let's keep what we were saying. This is why we're only going to focus on the largest companies. So let's start with BlackRock, right? BlackRock is the largest asset manager, like we know. So what is BlackRock doing? BlackRock enters asset tokenization. We already know that, right? It's a race actually by now, with a new fund on where? Ethereum network. They didn't choose nothing else but Ethereum. And this is by far the largest asset manager, that the second and third asset managers combined come up to what BlackRock alone has. That's how large BlackRock is. So whatever BlackRock does, and it's BlackRock's IBIT that has the most volume. They have the largest gold ETF, the largest Bitcoin ETF, the largest amount of assets under management. They have all the liquidity, all the power, and they chose Ethereum, right? So let's look at what it's saying here. So BlackRock to start a new real-world asset tokenization fund, right? On Ethereum network. Where else? Where else? So they chose Ethereum to do that. Asset management giant BlackRock, of course, officially unveiled its tokenized assets fund on Ethereum network, right? And it's known as BIDL. It's a liquidity fund. And what do they focus on? It's fully backed by what? By cash and debt, bills. It wasn't this exactly what they were saying? They want to tokenize stocks, bonds, and funds. This is exactly what tokenization is all about. Keep in mind, they chose Ethereum, right? So now that we have the largest asset manager with the most influence chose Ethereum, let's go to the financial part. Let's see JP Morgan. What is JP Morgan doing? So JP Morgan, they actually came out saying they're in support of Ethereum, and they call it a better bet than Bitcoin, right? And they said here that, so JP Morgan Chase, a global investment bank, recently expressed support for Ethereum over Bitcoin, citing Ethereum's broad utility and superior growth potential, right? But what we want to understand here, though, is that while Bitcoin is widely viewed as digital gold, with a market cap exceeding right now it's close to 2 trillion, JP Morgan believes Ethereum diverse applications from decentralized finance and non-fungible NFTs and all that make it a more attractive long-term investment. And what's more is this right here. So Ethereum is a better bet than Bitcoin, JP Morgan says. Why? Why? Because Ethereum is already taking over the entire DeFi industry. We need to really understand this. Ethereum is already taking over the entire DeFi industry. This is not some random Twitter influencer just tweeting random things. This is the largest financial company in the world, JP Morgan, saying this, right? And they're claiming that this is the reason why, because Ethereum is literally taking over the entire DeFi industry, providing increased exposure to smart contracts and NFTs as well, supporting countless projects. The Ethereum network has been a huge surge in activity, right? So, and another thing is also with Ethereum deriving its value from its applications, ranging from, again, DeFi to gaming, NFTs, stable coins, it appears less susceptible than Bitcoin, right? So these are things, I'm not going to get into more details, but I believe we get the idea. We get the idea. It's because Ethereum is already taking over the entire DeFi industry. Is that so? Didn't we just see that BlackRock decided to pick Ethereum. Okay, but is it only BlackRock? What about JP Morgan, Visa, and MasterCard? Okay, let's continue. So first mover, Americas. JP Morgan goes live with its first blockchain-based collateral settlement. Now let's verify, where did they go live with the blockchain-based collateral settlement? I wonder where they decided to build, right? So they carried out its first live blockchain-based collateral settlement transactions involving who else? BlackRock and Barclays. And JP Morgan's Ethereum-based Onyx blockchain. So they chose Ethereum as well for their tokenized collateral network. They'll be using, like Larry Fink said, bonds, tokenized bonds, stocks, and funds, and use the tokenized collateral network of JP Morgan, which is also Ethereum based, and then they're going to trade that over the counter and use it as collateral. That's the end game. Why is that the case? Because the derivatives market is a $1 quadrillion market. That's the end game of this. So that's nice. But who else? So JP Morgan is also chose Ethereum. BlackRock, we saw here, chose Ethereum. But what about Visa and MasterCard? Well, let's see. Visa, to help banks, not just one bank, but multiple banks, issue fiat-backed tokens, also known as stable coins. Where are they going to do that? On Ethereum, via new tokenized asset platform. So Visa, the largest payment processor in the world, only behind JP Morgan as a financial company, decides to help banks with their stable coins on the Ethereum blockchain. So Visa has developed a new product to help banks issue fiat-backed tokens, also known as stablecoins, on the Ethereum network. There's nothing more to say here, right? So one of the first financial institutions to use this platform will be Spanish bank BBVA, who's expected to launch a live pilot just a few months away. So these are multiple banks, traditional banks, financial institutions that are going to use Visa's payment infrastructure on the Ethereum network to create, so that they can create their own stable coins on Ethereum. Keep in mind why they said that Ethereum is better than Bitcoin. It's because Ethereum already, it's a done deal. It's not future talking, or it's not going to. It already took over the entire DeFi industry. While people are still chasing meme coins on Solana, Ethereum has been taken over by financial institutions such as JP Morgan, BlackRock, Visa, MasterCard. They're on Ethereum already, right? While people are still arguing about things that are irrelevant, right? So let's continue. Visa is fine. What about MasterCard? So MasterCard CBDC pilot ventures into Ethereum, right? So they also want their wrapped tokens on Ethereum. They're already in a pilot stage with Reserve Bank of Australia, and they're using their platform to mint matching wrapped tokens on Ethereum as well. So needless to say, the choice of the largest banks, the largest asset manager, and other banks now from Spain as well, and many more, are choosing Ethereum, right? And Ethereum also, it went already and surpassed MasterCard by market cap, and so on and so forth, right? So why are we mentioning all of this? It's not just to sweet talk Ethereum and that Ethereum is perfect and it's flawless. That's not the case. There is a flaw still with Ethereum as well. It's not perfect, right? So let's look at also one thing that really needs to be worked on, and a challenge right now with Ethereum. It's right now, the layer twos, there are too many, right? So how native rollups can make Ethereum great again, right? Within 2 years. So this individual had a great PowerPoint presentation. And what he was suggesting is that Ethereum needs to move away from all these centralized layer two blockchains, right? Such as Base, and adopt their own native rollups. So instead of relying on all these multiple layer two blockchains, such as Base, Avalanche, Polygon, and all of these different ones, they should focus on developing 128 native rollups, and it will save Ethereum network from being captured by corporate interests, right? And vanishing into obscurity. So what we've been discussing is not to say that, oh, Ethereum is flawless, they do everything right, and they're perfect. No. What we're saying in this session is that it is a done deal. And this is not me saying it. This is JP Morgan saying it. It's a done deal. Ethereum is already taking over the entire DeFi industry, right? However, these are things that can be worked on. These are little things. These are easy to fix. And Ethereum can work on this and fix this, right? So they need to focus more on developing their own native rollups on the Ethereum blockchain itself and not relying on layer two blockchains, right? And native rollups are layer two networks built to Ethereum's native security standards, right? Meaning that they're composable, uncensorable, and economically aligned with the original ethos of Ethereum. Ethereum's original ethos has been, and it still is, decentralization. They lay a lot of emphasis on decentralization. So that's why, unlike centralized rollups, which include L2 like Coinbase's incubated base or rollup, we need to have our own native rollups to offer all the inherent security and composability of Ethereum on the Ethereum layer one. So native rollups will be built and governed by Ethereum core developers with synchronous reading to the L1 and all data availability, maximum extractable value, and it will also congestion fees being paid back to the mainnet. This is the major issue right now. Remember how we were talking about being efficient, using your trading volume efficiently? This is back to solving the 4 challenges that we discussed in our last community event. Ethereum mainnet identified that all these layer 2 blockchains, they are generating volume, but it's not going back to the mainnet. They're keeping it themselves. And they're actually depleting all these lost fees and lost trading volume, which is taken from the mainnet Ethereum and is going to these layer 2 blockchains. So they identified inefficiencies in their trading volume. These are one of the 4 challenges that we always talk about that needs to be addressed. And this is exactly what Ethereum is addressing and saying they need to build their own without being too technical here. They're working on building their own. The 122 is what this individual suggested, native rollups that can save Ethereum's network from being captured, right, by the likes of Base and other layer 2 blockchains. Because why? Because the fees are not being paid back to the mainnet. So to do that, they need to adjust and have their own rollups, and that's as far as we can go. That's without being too technical. So this is something that is being worked on, that can be worked on, and but the bottom line is that Ethereum is already taking over the entire DeFi industry, and BlackRock chose them, Visa chose them, JP Morgan chose them, Visa, MasterCard, all these major financial institutions, the top 3 and the top asset manager chose Ethereum. So when we say, like today's topic suggested, Ethereum, the modern internet, what did we mean with that? Unlike these assets, these are individual companies that are using the blockchain technology. We need to understand this. These are the top 10 internet companies, and they're just using the technology because internet is a technology. It's not an asset. It's an infrastructure. It's a technology. So these companies were built on top of that technology. They're not the technology. They're using the technology. However, the difference between that and Ethereum is both the technology and the asset, two in one. Something like this has never happened before in the history of finance. How can you be a technology and an asset at the same time? Meanwhile, these top internet companies, they're just the assets. They're companies built on top of it. But the beautiful thing with Ethereum is you can not only invest in the asset that is actually a technology at the same time, but there'll be so many more blockchain companies, not internet companies, but blockchain companies that are being built on top of Ethereum, and also established companies like JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard, BlackRock that already chose Ethereum to build on top of Ethereum. But there'll be other, and there are new blockchain companies that are already being built. And these are established institutions that are already going also to choose to build on top of Ethereum. Why? Because their market leaders already chose Ethereum to do so. And on top of all of this, we also need to understand that the likes of UBS also chose Ethereum as the blockchain. So these are all market leaders that chose Ethereum because they understand that this time we are not going to go last. We saw that these top 10 companies that were at the very early stages of the internet, before the internet boom began, Google was already there. Amazon was already there. Microsoft was already there. And when you look at it and you look at these assets today, they're the same one. Amazon is still here. Microsoft is still here. Google is still here, right? Apple is here. Nvidia, these are all internet companies. So what are these financial institutions now doing different? They want to be on top of it this time. They want to not be left behind. And this is why they're all running to the obvious leader and winner of this technology, and it's Ethereum. And they're saying here that it's already taken over the entire, not a little bit, not a piece of it, the entire, right? Not just a little piece of the entire DeFi industry. This is a winner takes all. This is not sharing and being nice. This is the winner takes it all. And Ethereum already took all of it, the entire DeFi industry. And what does that mean? How does that mean? We verified it, right? BlackRock already chose Ethereum. JP Morgan didn't just choose Ethereum, but they're actually saying Ethereum is a way better investment, long-term investment than Bitcoin. And they're even telling you why. And we saw MasterCard, Visa, all of them, they already chose Ethereum as well. So now that we've looked at all of this on a general industry level, let's now zoom in. What does all of this mean now to us as an ecosystem? What does this mean? How are we going to make the most out of all of this? And this is exactly what it means, community. It means that because you are addressing the 4 challenges in the industry, which is lack of liquidity, inflation, unsustainable staking distributions, and inefficient use of your trading volume, which we saw here, Ethereum is fixing, right? They're fixing that inefficient use of their trading volume because they realize that other L2s like Coinbase, Base, and all of them, they're all taking the fees and they're not being paid back to the main. So they start realizing the inefficiencies that they have, right? And also in terms of sustainable staking distributions, they need to bring back the fees back to mainnet, because if they don't, they'll remain inflationary. So this will solve the inflationary issue. It will solve the liquidity issue, and obviously the fees, which will be also for sustainable staking distributions as well. So they're already working on solving those 4 challenges, because they realize that that's the only way. If you don't address those 4 challenges, there's no way you'll be efficient and sustainable. And these are the final steps that Ethereum is working on, because the large market players, the large financial institutions with existing infrastructures, they already chose Ethereum, and they already highlighted and saw that, oh, Ethereum is already took over the entire DeFi industry, and we verified it. The large players already chose, and they already built infrastructures, entire collateral infrastructures, right? I mean, they're building entire networks on top of Ethereum to collateralize all these tokenized assets. They have already liquidity funds, not just JP Morgan and BlackRock, but UBS as well. Back to what it means to us. Because we are addressing lack of liquidity, inflation, unsustainable staking distributions, and inefficient use of volume, we are addressing all those 4 challenges. What does that mean to us? Because we are addressing these 4 challenges using smart contracts, our ecosystem, strategies, tokenomics, and all of that, this puts us in a place where we are efficient, and we have that flywheel effect, meaning that now we can take full advantage of the network effect that comes with the blockchain technology. What is that? This means that because all of these tokenizations that are about to take place, they're coming with liquidity, and they're coming specifically and targeting Ethereum. These are not my words, these are BlackRock's words. And because Ethereum already took over the entire DeFi industry, this means all this liquidity is coming to Ethereum in the trillions of dollars, not in the billions of dollars, in the trillions. This is why Larry Fink said, well, all these ETFs in the billions of dollars, 1 billion here, 3 billion there, that's chop change, that's small money. Real money is traded on Ethereum, because Ethereum runs DeFi and took DeFi over. That's where all the liquidity comes. And we are positioned as an ecosystem to make the most out of it, because we have smart contracts in place that will be retaining liquidity, will be banning tokens supply and removing them from total supply. Like we said here, we started with 1 million in supply. And if you see here, for those that are not familiar with it, we had already banned 34,000 tokens, and we are left with 965. So our supply is literally scarce. So whenever you describe Bitcoin and say Bitcoin is scarce, but Bitcoin every 10 minutes is gaining, there are more tokens being minted, right? More Bitcoin is being minted every 10 minutes. So how can you call that scarce? Or what would you call this then? Would you describe this if the supply really keeps shrinking? So this is what you really call scarce, right? With every trade, the supply literally is scarce, literally shrinks, right? And then, of course, the other challenge is also incentive. Like we discussed in our last community event, there is something known as the BOS, right? And this stands for Bitcoin Operating System, right? Right here. So the Bitcoin operating system is verified ZK proof on Bitcoin upgrading to do what? To do everything that they say other blockchains. But what's the largest #1 smart contract blockchain? Is Ethereum, obviously, right? And they write here without forking its code. Who forked their code? It's Ethereum. So obviously they're mentioning Ethereum they're talking about Ethereum without mentioning its name. So they literally they're upgrading to do everything that Ethereum is doing. Basically, that's what they're saying. So they're copying what Ethereum can do. What can Ethereum do? You can lend, borrow, trade, exchange, and attract liquidity to your blockchain, right? And you can do more with it than just like we saw here. You can do so much more with it than just holding and buying and holding, right? That's exactly what we're talking about. So back to our ecosystem. Because we're addressing these 4 challenges, community, we are positioned favorably to make the most out of this liquidity rush that we're about to experience. Already, as we know, Ethereum has the most liquidity on chain. Locked value is 119, let's say 120. Ethereum has 68, 69, close to 20 of it. So majority of locked value is on Ethereum. Stable coins right now are over 100 billion just on Ethereum alone. And all in all is 191. So Ethereum has more than half of all stable coins are actually on Ethereum itself. So this shows you how much Ethereum is already dominating and took over the DeFi industry. The large players have spoken, they have chosen Ethereum, and Ethereum is already, not based on my words, but based on JP Morgan. Who is JP Morgan? It's the largest financial service company in the world. And they already built a network, a collateral network, right? On where? On Ethereum. They already have a tokenized collateral network, and they'll be using BlackRock's tokenized assets, stocks, bonds, and ETFs, right? Funds. And they're going to use it on the Ethereum blockchain on JP Morgan's tokenized collateral network. And they're going to be used, like we said here, BlackRock tokenized shares in one of the money market funds, right? And this will be traded over the counter. And these are not billions of dollars. These are trillions of dollars, right? That are being traded on a quadrillion-dollar market, which is the derivatives market. So liquidity is coming our way, community. We are prepared, developed, ready to acquire, retain all that liquidity. And with liquidity comes volume. And with volume, using volume efficiently, we'll retain even more liquidity, will be even more scarce, we'll accumulate a lot of USDC distributions. And this will give us that flywheel effect that we need. And this empowers the community. How does this empower the community? It's simple. Whenever you go to your local bank and they ask you a few questions, actually there are 4 questions they ask you. Whenever you need a loan, you'll ask 4 questions. It doesn't matter which geographic region you're from. These 4 questions are universal. You're being asked these questions. The first one is, do you have collateral? Do you have an asset? That asset that you have, is it liquid? Do you have liquidity? And also, do you have a cash flow? Do you have a steady income? Do you have a job? And then the 4th one is, do you have existing debts, right? So whenever the best way to explain how you're empowering the community with this ecosystem is that you can answer comfortably, yes, you have that, you have an asset. And that asset is not just liquid, it keeps accumulating liquidity. And this liquid asset is also scarce, literally scarce. Its supply keeps shrinking. And this liquid asset that is scarce in supply is actually also issuing sustainable USDC distributions. How is it doing that? Through efficiently, using its volume efficiently. As simple as that. All that is done through smart contracts, through the ecosystem, right? And this is exactly what the difference is here. This is the sweet part about all of this, is that these institutions, they want to use the underlying technology. And the underlying technology is the Internet of Value. And the Internet of Value is none other than Ethereum, right? The name of this new base layer for value is Ethereum. We verified that, right? We verified that. BlackRock is using Ethereum. JP Morgan is using Ethereum. Not just that, they're literally saying it's a better option than Bitcoin. And it's already taken over the entire DeFi industry. MasterCard is doing that. They already built their entire collateral network on Ethereum. JP Morgan did. Visa is already on Ethereum, right? And they're not just on Ethereum, but they're actually helping other banks to create their own stable coins on Ethereum. And the first one is a Spanish bank, the largest Spanish bank, of course, as well. And MasterCard, of course, as well. So we get the idea. And the largest bank in Europe, which is UBS, they are also launching on Ethereum. So we get the idea. Follow where the money is, follow liquidity. If JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard, and the largest asset manager, BlackRock, chose Ethereum, who are the rest to decide not to? Go and follow where the liquidity is. Like we saw here, liquidity is on Ethereum. They have all the stable coins, majority of it, majority of the locked value is already on Ethereum. So why go against the stream? Follow where the money goes, follow where the money is. And once you're there, ensure that you retain that liquidity, that you tackle the inflation issue, that you accumulate the USDC distributions and you use your volume efficiently. And this is how we position ourselves, community, to make the most out of Ethereum, the modern day internet. And we are in it early on, before all this madness starts, before all these tokenizations, all this liquidity rush. And this will happen this season over longer periods, right? But it will start now. And the early stages of things, what happens if you're part of early stages, like we saw here? If you're part of early stages, like Amazon, Alphabet, which is Google, if you early on, like we saw in the history here, before the internet boom began, Google and them, they were already here. Microsoft, they were already here. They were taking advantage of this technology. But these are assets that were built on top of internet. The difference is Ethereum is not just a technology, it's an asset at the same time. And you being early, us being early on it, and so much being traded on it, and all these large institutions building on it, we are at the right place at the right time. So this is just to let us know that we're on the right track, community. And I just want to encourage us that let's keep pushing, let's keep going, let's keep doing what we're doing. Let me share my screen back so I can go through your comments. This session just served for us to understand that we are on the right platform where already captures and will be capturing even more liquidity than anywhere else in the space. And it's the blockchain of choice for the market leaders. And if they decide, everybody else is to follow, because always follow where the money goes, always follow where the liquidity is. And it's on Ethereum blockchain. And it already took over the entire DeFi industry. It already did, right? So that's the message for today, community. And that's how our ecosystem is going to play a major role in literally, be part of all of this. So with that said, community, let me come through your comments. My brother Abdullahi says, warm greetings to you all. It's showtime. Get ready, community, for a knowledge-packed, energy-filled, and life-changing live stream session. Let's do this. Thank you so much, Brother Abdullahi, for always showing up. Thank you for being part of these sessions. You're very much appreciated. And absolutely, I hope this session was of value to you and the community, and that you have takeaways that you can you had takeaways from this session today. And like I always say, use these sessions as your point of reference, right? Do your own verifications, do your own further research. There's so much information out here. Like we said, we owe it to ourselves as crypto enthusiasts to be informed and educated. And we're just chipping in on a weekly basis, daily basis, to add our value, to bring knowledge awareness on a larger scale to the community, right? We have different topics each time. that really emphasizing on education. So greetings, my great brother. Brother Theo says, dearest Queen Mama Wino and my BRL family, blessed to be here with you, beautiful souls. Great professor, thank you for continuing to add immense value to us all. Thank you for your kind words. I hope that today you have something to take away from today's session. Can't wait to hear what you have to share regarding ETH being the modern internet. Exciting stuff indeed. Thanks again for everything. You good sir are very much appreciated. Thank you so much. My great brother Theo, you are also very much appreciated. I hope you and yours are enjoying yourselves and are having a great holiday or extended weekend, hopefully. Queen Patricia says, greetings to all. Greetings, Mr. Steve. And Mama Win, we are back again to listen to the best and knowledgeable mentor. Thank you, Steve, for your dedication. Always stay protected, always. Thank you so much, Queen Patricia. You're very much appreciated. May you also stay protected and blessed. Queen Debbie says, I am so ready for today's topic. I hope it was worthwhile, Queen Debbie. Thank you for being part of this session today. Queen Tomalexo says, good evening, our developer, Brother Steve, Mama Wino, and the entire Bullrun family. Can't wait to hear what you have for us on today's session. I hope you are able to take away something from today's session. You're very much appreciated, very, very much. Brother Glenn says, greetings, Bullrun family, and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Brother Steve, for another day of getting us prepared for what's to come. Glad that you had something to take away from today's session. Queen Mother Wino herself says, greetings to all queens and kings. Another exciting day of being enlightened. Knowledge is power. Indeed, knowledge is so much power. We are a better community because we are well informed and educated. Beautifully said, Mom. This is exactly the point. The point is for us to really, really make the most out of these sessions. Let's all be on the same page. We owe it to ourselves to be informed and be educated. And there is no excuse because in our ecosystem, we have 4 weekly events, daily Zoom sessions. There's no excuse. We are all informed and well educated. So well said, Mom. Thank you very much. Queen Aloshi says, hello, Bullrun family. Eagerly waiting for the new adventure into Ethereum. Thanks, Steve, for your selfless support you and Mama Wino gave us. God bless you abundantly. Thank you so much, Queen Aloshi. You are very much appreciated. May you also stay blessed, you and yours, always. Thank you for your support and your encouragement and your positive feedback. Queen Mama says, thanks, Steve, for your unwavering commitment to educating us. Thank the community for all the work you put in. Thank you so much. We're all putting in our, we're all chipping in our 2 cents, just adding value through that. Everybody's chipping in and doing their own. We always have to keep in mind that this is a decentralized community, right? It's everybody's chipping in. It's not a one-woman show, one-man show. And no, every single one of us is chipping in their own unique way, at their own capabilities and abilities. And that this is how we grow, right? This is exactly how we grow. But thank you so much, Mom. I appreciate your appreciation. Queen Debbie says, greetings, community, and greetings, my brother Steve and Queen Mother Wino. Greetings back to you too, Queen Debbie. I hope you and yours are doing fantastic. Queen Grace says, greetings, Mr. Steve, Mama Wino, and the Bullrun family. It's another beautiful day to once again learn more from you. As always, thank you so much for your commitment to educating us. More strength. Thank you so much, Queen Grace. You're so much appreciated. You're also very much appreciated for your commitment, your consistency, and always being part of these sessions. Queen Mangai says, good morning, family. We are back to more of our inspiring education about what our dreams are aligned to. Beautifully said. Glad you were able to make it today. We are very happy to have you with us. Queen Sarah says, good evening, Bullrun community. Brother Steve and Mama Wino. It's yet another exciting day to be empowered, educated, informed, and inspired from our developer, Steve, who never gets tired to teach us. Thank you so much, Queen Sarah, as you never get tired to show up consistently and be part of these sessions. So you see, it's a win-win for all of us. So thank you also for your contributions, you being part of these sessions consistently. This just means that you're also consistently showing up and being part of these sessions. Queen Nancy says, good evening, family. Very ready for tonight's lesson. Thank you, Mwalimu, for setting up this great learning environment. Thank you so much as well. Queen Nancy, thank you for your kind words, your uplifting, encouraging words. Very much appreciated. And I'm glad that you were able to take away something from today's session. That's the whole purpose, right? That's the whole idea. We have Queen Val here saying, hello, Bull Runners. Happy Thursday to us all. Another day to get to hear again from our teacher. Thank you so much, Queen Val, for your inputs as well. We appreciate you very much. And also for the new members that are not part of the ecosystem yet, all the links are put here in the chat by Queen Val. You can join us on Telegram. There's the Bullrun, Killer Whale, and Survivor Telegram links. Feel free to join us. We are very active on social platforms such as Twitter, YouTube, obviously, Telegram. We have weekly events on Zoom as well, daily events on Zoom. So we are happy to have you here with us. Queen Grace says, greetings to our developer Steve, Queen Mother, and BRL family. Another awesome moment to learn. Kindly shed more light on ENS causing ETH to go green and up high. Ethereum name servers causing ETH to go green and up high. Well, the best way to really the best way that will really cause Ethereum to go high, like we discussed, to be honest, is what we discussed earlier. They really have to work on the challenges in the industry. And this is exactly what has been suggested by now a second individual. And this is to really ensure that they have their own rollups, to ensure that they don't rely heavily on the layer 2 blockchains, such as Base from Coinbase, such as Polygon, Avalanche, and all of these other layer 2 blockchains, because eventually they're actually the ones taking not only the liquidity, but also the volume away, right? And without Ethereum being efficient and keeping that volume within its own layer 1 ecosystem, your question that you just asked, it won't remain green and go up, right? So that's the most important thing, is that Ethereum literally can fix the efficiency part, use their volume efficiently. And the first thing to do that is they need to build their own rollups, like it was suggested, like we discussed earlier. And once they do that, they'll be more efficient, and this will help Ethereum be deflationary. And once you're deflationary, this will help Ethereum not to just be green like you're suggesting, but it will also help its price to go up, right? So this is why we say that with so much volume and liquidity is about to hit Ethereum, $10 trillion, $11.5 trillion just by BlackRock alone, imagine how much volume that's going to bring, right? And with more volume in the trillions of dollars, that just means Ethereum is destined to be deflationary again. And this, if you're deflationary and Ethereum is being used on layer 1, they have their own rollups on the layer 1 blockchain, this is what going to do what you just suggested. It's going to really be green again, and it will go up, right? And they can't do that unless they fix these 4 challenges that we always talk about, Queen Grace. Lack of liquidity, inflation, use efficient, sustainable staking distributions, and use your volume efficiently. So they need to fix this, right? So there's not just a Bitcoin challenge, it's an Ethereum challenge, it's a Binance challenge, it's an industry challenge. So like we suggest in our last community event, if you don't fix these things from day one, now you have to, start putting it on the roadmap and give yourself 2 years, 3 years, 5 years to work on it, right? Same with Bitcoin. Now they are on a whole different BOS now, Bitcoin operating system. They have to also reinvent themselves and try to fix these things. So that's the best way I can answer you, Queen Grace. And I hope this answered your question. Queen Patricia says, hello, Bullrun family, Brother Steve and Mom Awino. Thanks more again, our developer, to teach us unconditionally. We more than Be more than blessed. Thank you so much, Queen Patricia. May you also, you and yours, be blessed. You are very much appreciated for your efforts and your continuous leadership and participation within the community as well. Queen Ernest says, greetings, esteemed Bullrun community, our queen mother and our champion, Brother Steve. Thank you so much. You're very much appreciated. Thank you for always and consistently showing up and participating in these community events. Uncle George is here. Greetings, Uncle George, to you. Hi, Steve, Mama Wino, and the wonderful Bullrun community. Happy to partake in today's session. Thank you for your invaluable knowledge, which keeps us informed and gives us the much needed confidence. I'm glad that this was your takeaway from today's session. Glad that you're able to take something from today's session, Uncle George. And also thank you for participating. Very much appreciated. Good evening, family, says Queen Evelyn and Brother Steve, for this time that you are always there for us. God bless you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with the community. It's a pleasure to participate in these events. We're always very looking forward to these sessions because, like we said, it hits two birds with one stone. For one, we are growing our decentralized community. And secondly, we are informed, educated, and inspired as well, right? And this empowers us. This is the goal. This is the end game. So Queen Cecilia says, hello, family. Nice to be here. Brother Steve, when is Bullrun likely to kick off? Thank you. Queen Cecilia, as you see, all cryptocurrencies already hit all-time highs. So this is the biggest, all besides Ethereum, right? So the largest ones already hit all-time highs. The only one in the top 5 that has not hit all-time high is Ethereum, right? And so that just indicates that we already are in a bull cycle. We already are in a bull run. It's been taken off already. And the thing is that it's in cycles, right? It always kickstarts with bull run, with Bitcoin. The bull run starts with Bitcoin, and then it goes over to Ethereum. And that's where we are. And Ethereum has not run yet. Ethereum has been lagging and is far from its all-time high, right? But Bitcoin surpassed all-time high. Binance hit all-time high. Solana hit all-time high, right? And even Cardano, so many tokens hit all-time high already. But Ethereum, because it's literally took over the DeFi space, and that space is the most highly scrutinized and being attacked by the SEC, now we can catch a breath and have favorable regulations in place that will favor Ethereum and the entire DeFi space. And once these things are put in place and developers are coming back to the US to build due to more favorable regulations and clearer regulations, as specifically based on stable coins, exchanges, custody, those are important aspects that need to be regulated. And once that is in place, we'll really see Ethereum really run and also start hitting and surpassing its all-time high like everybody else. So it's already taking place, Queen Cecilia. We have to wait for our turn, right? The way it works, it's always Bitcoin first, and then Ethereum, and then it trickles down. And like we discussed in today's session, I hope you had something to take away from it. All that liquidity, all this tokenization, which is the end game for Larry Fink and other asset managers and banks, is tokenization, is taking place on Ethereum. So all this plays in our hands. All this is great for us. So once Ethereum gets cleared and has more clarity in terms of stablecoin regulations, custody, and DeFi, staking, and all of that, and ETFs also approved to be staked, not cash only, but imagine ETFs products that are giving out yield, Ethereum yield for ETF products. So all these things are still uncertain. Once all these things are put in place, are clear, we'll see Ethereum doing amazing things. And most of the liquidity, most of the stable coins, all of DeFi, most of it, right, is on Ethereum. So once Ethereum starts running, everybody, it will lift all boats, right? Rising tides will lift all boats, and we'll all be able to benefit from this. So Queen Cecilia says, my first time here, happy to be part of this fight. When will Bullrun kick? we just answered this. I hope this answered your question, Queen Cecilia. Let me know if you need more clarity in this regard. Queen Gladys says, BRL family, we are blessed. Indeed, thank you so much. Anti-bot future is also a great feature to have. Said Alpha Squad. Danto says, how will the liquidity injection affect Killer Whale and Survivor due to them being paired with Ethereum? Of course, like we said, once Ethereum starts running, because they're paired with Ethereum, it's going to run as well. So it's both sides, right? It's two-sided coin. So of course, with the injection of liquidity, and as Ethereum is running, this will also be in support of Killer Whale and Survivor as well. Of course, it will pull them up as well. So that's how it's going to affect Killer Whale and Survivor directly. So that's the most important part about that as well. And it's two-sided, right? So if it runs, it runs. If it drops, it drops. That's how the fluctuation is. But with what we've learned today, and we see how much liquidity is about to enter Ethereum, liquidity brings stability. So Ethereum won't be as volatile, as it is now, because it's low liquidity. And with a lot of liquidity will come even more volume. With more volume will turn Ethereum into being deflationary. And this will make it a very attractive investment, long-term investment, just like JP Morgan said, right? In compared to others. Plus, keep in mind, it's not just a technology, it's actually the layer of applications. It is a technology and an asset, two in one. So this is how it's going to affect Survivor and Killer Whale directly, since they're paired with Ethereum. This was at the beginning. At the beginning, you get botted very early. So the bot future is literally for the beginning, at the very start. That's basically it. It's so that the contract doesn't get botted when you launch it. That's when it really matters. Queen Amelia says, wow, just wonderful. Follow where the money goes and see where liquidity is. Ecosystem will play a major role indeed. Thank you, Brother Steve. Thank you also for your feedback. Thank you for participating and being part of these sessions. Very, very much appreciated. Queen Sakina says, with the foundation we are building, there is only success ahead. Beautifully said, Queen Sakina. Beautifully said. Fundamentals are key. Fundamentals are the foundation, literally, for a strong ecosystem, definitely. Especially if we focus on addressing challenges that are obviously plaguing everybody in the industry, and we see them shuffling and try to fix things, and they have leakages everywhere, and they have to just stop the leaking, fix things, whether it's through redefining yourself, building a new blockchain, coming up with a new roadmap. People are really struggling and trying to fix all these things. And the beautiful thing is, if you do it the right way from the very start, you don't have to, 7 years down the road, 16 years down the road, try to reinvent yourself all over again. So this is the advantage of coming later in, and you can study the industry, you can study the other cryptocurrencies, focus on the top 5. What are they doing great? What are their challenges? And then implement what they're doing great, adjust and use the challenges they have as opportunities, turn them into opportunities and address them, right? That's the best way to do it. And what's great is that we're at the very early stages of all of this, and we can really enjoy the ride from the very start. So Queen Louisa says, greetings, Brother Steve and Mama Wino. To everyone, we are highly favored. Thank you for all this take. Thank you so much, Queen Louisa, for your input. You're very much appreciated as well for participating in today's session. Queen Belinda says, just joined, was off data. We are happy to have you here with us. and it's recorded. You can freely watch from the start and then go through it again. Thank you for taking your time, even when you're off data, to be part of this session today. So community, we went through all the comments. Thank you for your feedbacks. Thank you for participating in today's event. Time flies when you're having fun. Another 2 hours gone. So thank you so much once more, community. You are very much appreciated. I wish you all a wonderful rest of your week. I hope today's session brought value to us in terms of information and education. I hope we're all inspired of the future of what awaits us. I hope we understand now the difference between the internet technology and the current internet, which is known as the era of value, which is Ethereum. We need to appreciate that. And let's always see things before they happen. And this is why we discuss these things ahead of time. We don't have to sit around and wait until it hits mainstream. Then it's too far. When your taxi driver, your barber, everybody now is talking about it, it's too late, right? A competitive advantage is to realize things, see things before everybody else sees it as being obvious. So before things are too obvious, and we need to jump on it, we need to take the opportunity and position ourselves accordingly, right? And this is what these sessions are all about. It's all about informing, educating, inspiring, and so that we can make rational decisions in an otherwise very emotional market, right? With that said, community, I want to wish you all a wonderful rest of your day, of your week, and until we meet again, bye-bye, community. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being part of these sessions today. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Till we meet again, bye-bye, community.